big thank you to KiwiCo for sponsoring today's video. According to the radar, we are going to get rain all day today, up to 3 inches they're saying. I think it'll settle in, it'll be here until we go to bed tonight. It's the perfect kind of day to settle in and work on some homemaking tasks, which every day there are homemaking tasks that have to be done. With our large family of 10, things accumulate. One example would be this trunk at the foot of the bed that I just throw lots of sheets and pillow covers, things I've acquired, things I've sewn. I even saw some things in there that I sewed for my girls when they were small that I was just being sentimental about. Whatever the excuse, whatever the reason, this particular spot in my home has become unusable. And every time I want to swap out sheets, which I do probably every other week or so, I have a nice little collection of sheets, so I'll swap them out and enjoy a fresh new look in our room. I struggle to find what I'm looking for. I changed that today. I'm always surprised in my home how little time it really takes to address something that can weigh on me, something that I pass by and I think about, and it causes some stress, some tension in the thing that I'm trying to accomplish. And only 10 minutes or so, I have it completely improved. I texted my family group, asked if anybody wanted some extra sheets. Of course, someone did. I washed them, dried them, packed them up, and now I can enjoy a much more organized bedroom. A lot of the tasks in our home that cause that stress and anxiety that make us feel like we have so much to do and not near enough time to accomplish it all usually take less time than I think they're going to, but they do take some time, and I can sure feel when our schedule is overpacked or my time is taken up in other ways that make it to where I can't stay on top of things. I think one of the biggest challenges for a homemaker, especially those with lots of littles, is prioritizing what needs to be done and what is most important at any given moment. Choosing what should I do at this time to be the most efficient. For me, this usually comes down to being organized before the day starts. So having 3 things: a priority list, a simplified house, and a simplified schedule. First, let's talk about having a simplified home. Dawn from the Minimal Mom talked about when she first started decluttering her home, the whole goal was that each room, or maybe it was the whole house, I can't remember, if she couldn't pull it back together in 5 minutes, then it was too cluttered. I have to revisit this non-stop because, like you could see this morning with my sheets trunk, I do like to kick the can down the road, to shove things in and just deal with them later instead of making a decision right then and there. Trying to get better about this. I do always have a donation bag in the mudroom by the door at all times. And I always think, certainly I've decluttered everything possible there is to declutter, but the more simplified I get with my home, the more time I magically have to make dinner, to spend time with my family. It's amazing how much time is there when my home doesn't require so much of me. We have peppers and tomatoes in the garden, so I'm making simple stuffed peppers with rice for lunch today. Another thing we tried to majorly simplify is our schedule. It's a little easier this time of year because we don't have a lot of the usual obligations like Awana and soccer and the things that we have in the fall, although this year we have decided that we aren't going to do soccer. It is so nice and so freeing when there's nowhere we have to be. Now, sometimes we choose to do things. Like my sister said she's going to start hosting a sewing night. Luke and the 4 oldest boys have been spending tons of time at our new farm, on the 4-wheeler, in the creek, hiking. This Friday, we're going to watch my niece in a play, and we're going to go out to dinner. So we're doing stuff, but we don't have anything we have to do. If things get overwhelming in our home, like they tend to, we have so much margin to deal with whatever comes our way if we make the decision up front to say no to more things. I struggle with this all the time because there are a lot of opportunities, even very good things, and I have to remind myself, I'm bad at this, but I have to constantly remind myself that margin makes all the difference for joyful, peaceful home life. I'm a Dave Ramsey fan. Luke and I have been following the principles for many years now, and Dave has a lot of what you might call Daveisms, things that he says over and over again. One thing he constantly tells people is your income is your biggest wealth building tool. And what he means by that is if your income is spoken for before you even can invest in your retirement or any other goals you may have, if all of your income is already spoken for at the beginning of the month with lots of payments, with debts, whatever it may be, then you have no margin to accomplish those goals. Well, the same thing can be said in homemaking. If all of your margin of time is taken up by a home that is way too cluttered, impossibly hard to manage, or a schedule that is overbooked, then you are fighting a losing battle from the very beginning. It might all look good on paper, but then whenever you try to actually implement it, the time has already been devoted and given to other things. Taking a break from this slow, rainy summer day to tell you about something that my kids look forward to receiving every month all through the year, and that is their crate from KiwiCo. KiwiCo delivers seriously fun learning for kids of all ages. Everything from science to sensory play, games, geography. Every crate is designed by an expert team to inspire excitement, curiosity, and discovery. They are tested by kids to make sure they meet all of that criteria. I can attest with my 8 children that they love everything that they learn and that they discover through KiwiCo. I really like that KiwiCo comes with everything that you need, so you don't have to run to the store or collect things from around the house. You can give it to your child and you can either sit down and interact with them, or it can be very hands-off as well. Most of my kids are readers at this point, so they can consume all of the information that comes in the books that go along with their crates and work to complete the projects that are age level appropriate. My oldest daughter was so thrilled to receive a DIY ukulele. She even tuned it at the end. KiwiCo is offering Farmhouse on Boone viewers 50% off your first month with my link, kiwico.com/farmhouseyt. Please note the code will apply 20% off with a Panda crate, whereas all the other lines will be 50% off. The Panda crate comes bi-monthly for ages 0 to 36 months. Again, thank you so much to KiwiCo for sponsoring today's video. So when people call into the Dave Ramsey show, what does he give them when they're struggling with their finances? He tells them that they need to create a budget. They need to have every dollar spoken for. Well, I think the same can be true in our homes. We need to make a list. So he says, make a list of all of your expenses. What debts do you have? What is your grocery budget? There's a certain category just for things that could go wrong that you aren't expecting. There's the emergency fund. In our homemaking, we can do the exact same thing. What are the obligations that are non-negotiables? What are things that aren't getting done that need to be done? Can you say no to a couple things? Can you get a decluttering day on the schedule for next Saturday? In my financial comparison, I think finding the Saturday to declutter or finding a few things that you can take out of your schedule would be equivalent to increasing your income. Every once in a while, Dave tells people you need to make more income. This just doesn't add up here. And you need to deliver pizza or drive Uber. He has all kinds of things that he suggests to people. Maybe there's a few things you think are necessary around your home that actually aren't. They're just perfectionist type things. Could those be eliminated to make room for, say, a sport that a kid really likes that is a non-negotiable? It's just looking at it like a budget, being realistic about it, and realizing that you can't do absolutely everything all at the same time and expect to not go crazy. Just like with a financial budget that gets revisited every single month, a time budget can be the same way. Luke and I, about once a quarter, really look at everything and make sure that we are on the same page and everything is going to work. We are really enjoying everything that the garden has to offer right now. Stuffed peppers for lunch with the fresh tomatoes and all the herbs from the garden. And then for dinner, we're making a big batch of pesto. I'm going to cook some chicken just by browning it on each side in butter, add some salt, and then toss the pesto with the chicken and the pasta. It's a really easy dinner. After I finished everything, my daughter came over and added so much more Parmesan cheese. So really good, lots of salt, lots of pepper. For the pesto, I do whatever nut I have. Like today I had pecan, so I did that. Add enough olive oil and even some water until it's nice and thin enough to toss with pasta. And then we have a few tomatoes, not tons. Our garden is still really being slow about producing those, so we're using every last tomato we have, roasting it in the oven to add to the pasta to give it a nice, sweet, caramelized flavor. I always like to cut chicken breasts down the middle so that they cook a little faster, a little browner. Also, it's easier for the kids to handle. When roasting my tomatoes, I also threw on a few cloves of garlic to add roasted garlic to the pesto. Makes for a really delicious addition. Once you feel like you've budgeted for the time in your home, it's also really important to organize how you're going to accomplish the tasks that have to be done. For me, this is as simple as creating a note in my phone, and I lay out each day, Monday through Sunday. There's usually not much that we're doing on a Sunday, but sometimes I'll just have a reminder on there, something I need to bring to my sisters or somebody at church. Each day I have the priority things that I need to get done. It's not a huge list, but it helps me whenever I do have a moment to tackle that and not get too derailed. There are, of course, rhythms and things that happen in our home that I don't have to specifically write down. Things like making water kefir or sourdough bread. In my earlier homemaking days, I needed to keep better track of those tasks and cleaning, but now there's more a rhythm and flow. So whatever works for you in creating your time budget, but just I think acknowledging that our time is our greatest asset and that we can be more diligent with how we spend it is important. I'm ending my day with my skincare routine, which isn't super fancy. I like to double cleanse with Tubes & Co. oil cleanser and the charcoal bar, and then I spritz with a toner. And then my friend Elizabeth from Purely Parsons sent me a beautiful serum that has argan and pomegranate seed oil, some blue tansy and helichrysum and yarrow and frankincense, so it has those anti-aging properties. I finish with that. I love how a little tiny bit of extra effort there in the evening makes my skin look and feel just so much better. I hope that you enjoyed joining me on a rainy day and talking about homemaking, which is one of my favorite things to do and talk about. Thank you so much for stopping by our farmhouse.